It's time for the John and Rick Show. The John and Rick Show is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to another John and Rick Show. Rick, how's it going?
Doing great. This is Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Let's go.
I'm getting over a little bit of a cold.
Oh, yeah.
It's moved a little more bronchial, so I'm dealing with that. If I cough, I apologize.
That's all right. A lot of people are sick in my ear. It's been raining for the past week. The weather's changed, and people.
Yeah, here in South Carolina, it'll be 40 degrees one day and then 70 the next. So you get that weather change usually causes you to get sick.
Yeah, it's kind of funny nowadays after COVID. In the past, you had people coughing on you, no big deal, whatever. Nowadays, hey, stay away, man. If I don't want to get sick, that type of thing. It's like,
yeah, absolutely. Or people will go to the doctor and they'll be like, "Oh, it's just a cold."
Yeah.
Because they're everybody's expecting COVID.
Yeah.
So the big topic I wanted to discuss today is: will all these hundreds of shill bidding videos make collectors leave YouTube?
I mean, literally hundreds.
Do you think it's overplayed?
Pardon me?
Do you think it's overplayed at this point?
Yes.
Why are all these people surprised, Rick? I mean, this has been going on since the beginning of time, and that's what we want to delve into. We do we like to share history, and this is fascinating. So, Rick, you uncovered historical. Here's my cat walking all over my table. You uncovered some historical shill bidding, and this is fantastic. So, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it kind of relates to modern times. This is back in 1944. And back in 1944, it was kind of the Wild West when it came to collecting, because a lot of people just had no idea what these cards were. It seems like every day they would find a new set, or they had no idea what not the pops, but just what the set number was for each issue. So Jefferson Burdick had this card collector bulletin newsletter they would put out, I think, monthly. And I came across this August 1944 newsletter, and I just love to go back if I see them on the internet, kind of what they were thinking back then, And it's kind of interesting because somebody would say, and even with the batter ups, they would say, "Yeah, it looks like the batter ups. There's 180." They had no idea the count number, and somebody would say, "I found this card or that card." They're trying to piece things together back then. Yeah. But I didn't know this, but they had actually mail-in auctions back then. And I'm reading this article. It's the third annual auction, mail-in auction, and Charles Bray, Bray. I'm sure many of you have heard his name. He's an OG collector back then, famous collector, and he was putting on this auction, and you had to get your bids in by like August 12th, mail in, and people were complaining that Bray, when he would respond back, that he would tell other people what they bid, other bidders. So he would tell somebody what the high bid was, and then you could go back in, I guess, and bid again if you had enough time to mail it in. So people were complaining, don't do that. Let's just set a confidential bid, and the highest bidder gets the lot. And they sold them mostly by lots. Now, let me say this. It's different back then. People weren't trying to bid up or they wanted to build sets.
Yeah.
Build sets back then.
And we weren't talking very much money either.
Very much money. Okay. A few cents to a couple dollars. Okay. So they weren't really trying to bid, get the card, and
they just wanted the card.
Auction. They were collectors back then.
Because they were hard to find back then.
Hard to find. And so the other people would also complain that Bray would probably tell people, he would mail back, hey, people would ask questions because, again, the Wild West, what is this thing that it's up for auction? You know, how many's in the set, what, this, that, and everything else. And he would respond back the information that he had and what he thought maybe it was worth. And some people were complaining about that. But in the article, he said, okay, we're going to change right now. Everything's going to be confidential. You're not going to know what other people bid, their high bid. And also, I'm still going to give you general information about these things, but I'm not going to kind of tell you what I think it's worth or whatever. So that was
so collectors complaining about auctions is almost as old as the hobby.
Exactly, 1944, but it was all by
That's a little
mail.
different than shill bidding, letting somebody know what they need to bid, but not far off. Not far off.
And so it's just kind of interesting, you know. But again, lastly, I've been saying this a few times now, is that these were collectors, so they weren't trying to resell these things. They were just trying to build their sets, and many have had no idea what these things were. What was interesting in this auction, they were up for bid was silks, cloths, gum cards, soda cards, coffee cards. And Burdick said that the last auction for these types of items, the silks and cloths, went way under what he thought they would go for. So people really didn't know what they were at all. They didn't want to collect them. And it's kind of interesting. Even today, I think they're undervalued.
Yeah, I mean, they finally, in the last recent years, came up to some, closer to what I think they should be. But yes, for generations, it was the same.
Yeah, and then he was saying that though
some things never change.
Most of the items in the last auction, I guess auction 2, this was now the third auction, went for less than what he thought they would go for.
Okay.
And he said that the baseball players, the gum card baseball players, went for more than the other cards like, flowers card, whatever, non-baseball, didn't go as much as the actual baseball players.
Now, let me ask you this. When people found out that he was telling people the bids, did they all flock to social media by the hundreds and crucify him and ban him from the hobby?
Probably not. But it was kind of funny. It just, people bitching and moaning about something, which is probably true. That you're not.
What was social media back then? It would have been newsletters, the newspaper, trade publications.
Yeah. So if you
did they have trade publications that far back? I know they had them, like, at least going back to the 60s. I don't know if they had any that far back, because wasn't it Burdick who wasn't it called The Trader Speaks?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he do some sort of a newsletter called The Trader Speaks?
Yeah.
Do you know when that started?
I don't.
What era?
I don't.
Yeah.
This was called the Card Collection Bulletin.
Man, now that I got to get a hold of one of those for my historical collection.
Yeah, people do collect those. People do.
Oh, I'm sure.
I would like to
I'm sure.
And if you just, if you Google Burdick newsletter, card collector, collection, whatever, you can find it. Google.
Yeah. And I find it interesting. It was called The Trader Speaks.
Okay.
So, today if he had a YouTube channel, he'd be the sports card trader. Now everything's investment.
Yeah. So anyway, that's back then where people always bitching and moaning about something.
That's the one thing about the human race. They'll always be violent, and they'll always bitch and moan about stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll always be greedy about money.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, I know we did this off. I didn't mention about the Bray and Connie Mack, did I?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So in this article, this newsletter, Charles Bray, who we mentioned was putting on this auction, he was invited by Connie Mack to an athletics game, and he brought his Goodwin album, 1886, 1889 Goodwin baseball card album to the game and showed Connie Mack these baseball players. And Connie Mack was explaining to Bray about he played with this player and this umpire was called this even back then. It was kind of interesting that
so cool.
Yeah, and so Bray, I don't know his background really besides being a collector, but to be invited by Connie Mack, he must have had some kind of pull when it came to baseball and the hobby because of Connie Mack invited him to a game.
That must have been such a treat back then because, they didn't have access to all this information. They weren't able to watch games on TVs. That would have been so cool. That would have been like information you'd never hear anywhere else. You couldn't go on YouTube or watch an MLB documentary or anything like that.
Yeah, so like I said, you get a chance, look up some of these newsletters. It's pretty fascinating.
I need to get my hands on one. I have I think it's a 1953 printing of his catalog, but I don't have one of the Trader Speaks.
Yeah.
All right, so what card sets we're going to talk about today? Some fun ones.
Yeah, so we're going to cover the National Chickle Batter Up set, 1934, and we're also going to cover the O-Pee-Chee, 1937 O-Pee-Chee die cuts.
Two of my favorite all-time sets. I don't know why. I've always been fascinated with and loved the punch-outs, stand-ups, whatever you want to call them. You're calling them die cut?
Yeah, punch-out, die cuts, pop-ups.
Yeah.
Pop-ups.
They're so cool.
Yeah, I don't know if they were a big hit or not, because the pop reports on these, I don't know the distribution, but they're not very high. Most is under 50 for these.
No, they're not. I was always, in my earlier days of collecting and even more recently, so excited to find certain players on here. I have a whole bunch. It's one of the sets I work on, along with the 37 O-Pee-Chee. 37 O-Pee-Chees they're pretty darn scarce. Like there's not a lot of them, any of them. Yeah, you can find them, but they're not everywhere. In fact, when you go to the National or the card shows, I rarely see these. Rarely. I can't remember seeing any at any recent card shows or Nationals I went to.
Yeah, and you definitely
doesn't mean they weren't there, but I don't remember seeing any.
Yeah, you definitely pay up for them.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So, and they have some great players in these. These sets are just loaded with fantastic Hall of Famers.
Yeah. So the 1934 National Chickle Company put out these cards in Massachusetts. 192 cards in the set. They have low numbers, or 1 to 80 are the low numbers. High numbers 81 to 192. Okay,
yeah, so and the high numbers are smaller.
They are smaller.
Yeah, so because when I first encountered, when I first encountered the high numbers, the first one I got was I think this Lloyd Wayner I have here, and like it's smaller than the other ones, and I thought it was trimmed. Yeah, and until I researched it and learned about them. And it's interesting that they are a different size for the high numbers. So I wonder why that is, if it just went to a different printer, or if it was an error in the cutting. Do you have any idea?
Maybe, because I think the low numbers, they were printed on 2 sheets. The low numbers, 2 sheets. And I think even the high numbers were printed on 2 sheets. But there's more cards on the high number set or series, so probably they were smaller just to fit the different sheets. So they shortened them about 1/4 inch.
I guess that could be possible. The other thing is maybe they were packaged in smaller. How are these given away? In gum?
Yeah.
So maybe they were smaller packages of gum.
Maybe. I don't know.
We don't know.
The wrappers look the same. I mean,
do they?
So the low number and high number had different wrappers, but they looked like I haven't seen
They,
one in
they
person. They're pretty
yeah.
scarce, but they looked about the same size. The wrappers
Man,
look.
I'd like to see one of each in person to see if they're the same size.
Yeah. I'll send
But
you a picture of the wrappers.
okay.
But so the low number, high number, the low numbers, the difference between besides the numbers on the low numbers, they were hand printed the numbers, as you can see on the lower numbers, right?
Yep.
Somebody printed a
And I'll
number.
just show one as you talk.
Yeah, on the
That's Roger
bottom.
Hornsby.
And they only had the last name on the low numbers too, the player's last name on the low numbers. So one, you can tell the difference there also. So 80 cards, low numbers, high numbers from 81 to 192. Now, people think it came out, they say, in 34, 35, and 36, right? The cards. Okay. So most people think, people that do a deep dive in these think that low numbers were in 1934. The high numbers were in 1936. And the reason I say 36, the high numbers, again, like previous shows that we've done, there's players that could not have been in 34, 35, only in 36. So they think the high numbers, more than one player, up to like 10 players, they were traded on a different team in 1936. So they think the high numbers are 36. 35 could have been a continuation of the low numbers, or they just didn't print. We don't know. 35.
Yeah. Well, it seems unlikely they would have skipped a year and then made them again. So maybe the low numbers were issued over 2 years.
2 years. Kind of interesting. So 36 on the high numbers.
What do you know about the different colors?
Yeah. So the low numbers came in blue,
Dizzy
black.
Dean.
Yeah. Blue, black, purple, green, brown tone, and red. So why it's kind of crazy that, all these different colors. I guess the red and the green are tougher to find.
Do you think that was just the printer used whatever color ink he had extra? I'm curious why there are so many colors in this set.
Yeah. Purple, black, blue, green, brown tone, and red. And then the high numbers were black, blue, green, and brown tone.
Yeah.
Black, blue, green, and brown tone.
And I mean, these are mostly what you see are these two basic colors. Well, I guess I have I don't know, some of these are so similar. I think this is blue. It looks more bluish than this. And then I have this one. These are about the only three I think I have. 3 colors.
Yeah, 3 colors. Okay.
I wanted to show you this cool card. This is Leo DeRocher. This is one of my favorite cards in the set. It's really cool.
Yeah. Look at that. I wonder what stadium that is. It's always fun do the research.
I'd have to delve into it because I really don't know the old stadiums by looks.
Yeah. Really,
they got Pie Trainer in Archie Vaughn, not Pie Trainer, in a similar pose. They're just great cards. I like to collect the stamp backs.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who may not know, years ago, it was common for kids or collectors, even adult collectors, to stamp the back of their cards and show that they were theirs. I don't know. But one fun thing to do is to go and try to match up the stamps. And when we say stamp backs, they might have been initials, handwritten. Sometimes they just have an A, or they would have, I have one that's JD, and I have some stamps. And I was able to match up the Hank Greenberg and Hack Wilson cards with K, the same K on the back. And I love this because I am reuniting some old collector's collection, and because they have writing on them, they grade, they're junk, according to the grading companies. so you can get them even cheaper. And the chase for these things is fantastic. I've only ever matched up two different sets. I matched up the Allen and Ginter Cap Anson and Jack Glasscock to a guy in Manhattan. It has a stamp with his address and everything on the back. But it's so cool. It's so fun to do this. And I have others that I've been on the lookout to get. One's an A and one's like an O. And then another one is a JD. So anybody has those stamp backs, let me know if you have something to sell. I love to match up the stamp backs.
Exactly.
Just something special about it to me.
My sister-in-law has an album of old baseball cards, and she would initial all her cards, either on the front or the back. It would be MW.
I had this one kid, and he stole my baseball cards. And so I went down. He was down at the end of the road on his bike, and I confronted him. And we got into a little altercation, and he went running home and to his mom. And his mom made him take all my cards and put his initials on the back to separate them, to prove they're his. And I'm like, what sense does that make after he took them? So all his cards, and I probably still have some. I have kind of a side collection of old beat up cards that we used to flip when I was a kid. I probably have some in there with his initials on the back from later on trading and flipping, which were probably my cards to begin with.
That's pretty funny. So what else can I tell you? All right,
yeah,
so
I had a friend. We would golf, and we used to accuse him of cheating because he would go into the woods. He'd hit a ball 50, yards into the woods. It'd be bouncing off of every tree, and he'd go in and he'd find it, and it'd be hittable. And so he had, he would sign his balls to prove to us that it was his ball. But we would joke around because he had 12 identically marked balls in his pocket, and that's kind of like initialing cards after you steal them. It's like, what does that prove? Unless you only had one. Anyway, we'd always bust his chops about that.
Oh, that's the best time, man. Busting friends' chops.
Oh, yeah.
And you still bring it up, man. Even just, you see that guy, the first thing out of your mouth is going to be that story, So
good memories, man.
Oh.
All right, so not to sidetrack you.
All right, so the 36, there was two different these two different wrappers. So the 36 wrapper, it mentions about a large photo art picture you'd receive for 1 cent. Also a stand-up picture, which we know, which we've been showing. And also a Big Chew quality gum. 3 different items, okay? The art picture, what we've been showing, the stand-ups, pop-ups, and also a piece of gum. Well, we know the stand-ups are out there because we're showing you these batter-ups, but also mentions a art picture, photo art picture. And the companies think that there's a Jimmy Fox, there's 6 different players, and it's a photo of these 6 different players, and it's the same image that is used on the batter up cards.
Okay.
But there's only a few in existence. So Jimmy Fox, might only be 2 in existence. There's also a Wes Farrell card, a Gehringer, a Wayner card. Okay, those are some of the 6. Martin also, but there's only a few of these in existence. If you see one, it's going to go for thousands of dollars. But somebody came up with the idea, well, if these batter up cards we see plenty of these, why aren't there more of these cards that I'm just mentioning, these photo cards, when there's only a few in existence and only 6 players that have been found? So this person kind of did a deep dive, and he thought, which I think it might probably true, is in 1936, they also came out with a R312 and an R313. National Chico came out with these cards, the fine pen And these were larger cards, and these were probably the ones either in the package or they were given by the store when you purchased 1 cent of the gum. Because you would think there would be more of these Jimmy Fox cards in existence. If it's on the package showing you, you would receive one for 1 cent purchasing the gum.
So they weren't premiums that you mailed in for, like mailed in wrappers.
No. People call them premiums.
Yeah.
But these were, I think most people consider, and this is, most people consider them you would receive, they think you spend 1 cent, you would receive one of these. The store.
Well, you know, that's how the 48 swell were given out. You'd buy 2 pieces of bubble gum and they would hand you the card.
Yeah.
And since it's oversized, not easily fitting in a pack, that makes sense.
And
so here's what you're talking about. You're talking about the wide pen and the fine pen?
Just the fine pen. The fine pen.
Okay, here's that Hank Greenberg and the fine pen. So this is what we're referring to.
Yeah. And then also the R312 is kind of like a photo art type. Yeah.
That's the R312. These were colorized. And it's one of my favorite sets.
And another the gentleman that did the research, I wish I can remember his name, but I guess in an article, Burdick mentioned those fine pens as batter up cards or something to do with batter up cards. So that's
more evidence. Yeah. More evidence that it was associated with those. Oh, Rick, I lost your sound.
There, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was called Mr. Spam Risk was calling me. You know, Mr. Spam Risk.
Man, he's popular. I know lots of people to get calls from him.
Oh man, my business phone connects to my cell phone, so I get a ton of those. Man,
yeah,
like probably 10 a day from all over the country.
How do you have time to do business when you're always researching old sets?
I know. Don't tell anyone. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like those guys that brought Richard Nixon down, those 2 reporters. It's like, are you talking a deep throat in the back of a parking garage? To get information on old shill bidding?
So Jason, I mentioned Jason. I was telling Jason on a video live that, hey, I'm going to mention his name because he collects these he collects the bigger size cards. And I don't collect so much of them. I generally, you can only collect. I have a few of them, but he's a big
I collect them, but I collect everything. But I always love the oversized cards, and some of them are, way more scarce than the cards, than the normal sized cards.
Yeah, sure. But what I'm getting at is that kind of makes sense. You'd think
it makes sense.
There's only a few of these in existence, the Jimmy Foxes and and I'll send you a picture of it. And I didn't even know these existed, but there would be more of these in existence because it mentions on the wrapper. So you would think the batter up cards, there's plenty of them out there.
So why do you think they use different images?
That's a good. That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because these are both the same for the oversized.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. I don't know how many. You may know how many have different photographs. Some players have different ones. 2 that I know off the top of my head is Jimmy Fox and Pie Trainer. I know they have 2 different versions each. Do you know anything about why? And do you have any idea how many have different versions?
I don't. I know that three cards in the high series have 2 players on them. And what's interesting too? There's no Cubs. No Cubs in the set. Because this is in Massachusetts. Something about, obviously you know, if it
Who
was
was Hack
illegally
Wilson
done.
with that year?
I'm sorry.
Who was Hack Wilson with that year?
I don't know. The Joe Cubs?
Oh, he was with the Dodgers here.
Yeah. So no
Okay.
Cubs. Anyway, so that's the
Didn't we do
1934.
another set that didn't have any Cubs?
Yeah, recently, huh? The last video.
I think.
What was it? Was it the wait? Did the DeLongs have Cubs? I'm just throwing this out there.
I can't think of off the top of my
Because
head.
they were the same company, Batter Up and DeLong. No, not
Yeah, that's
DeLong. Wait, Batter Up and Diamond Stars are the same company, right? Diamond Stars and National Chickle produced those Diamond Stars, but also Batter Up. But DeLong was different. But maybe it was the DeLong didn't have any Cubs in it.
Yeah, it just sounds familiar that we
I don't
just
know.
talked about a set. I never really followed which teams are in sets until we start talking about these kinds of things.
Yeah,
Just never pay any attention to it whatsoever.
maybe I'm
I
wrong.
might notice if there were no pirates, because that's who I collect mainly, but never really go through to see if all the teams are represented. Never done that.
Somebody will probably come up with it. God, all this stuff comes together, when we're doing weekly videos on these things. That
it all merges
right
together. But you know what? Our wonderful, educated, experienced viewers will, tell us what's some of these answers that we're seeking.
Yeah. Mitchell's a big Diamond Star guy. He'll know.
Yeah, he is.
But they came out. They came out with the Diamond Stars also.
Mitchell know everything about them.
I know. Deep dive. We got to have him on the show one time when we.
Yeah, we do. We do.
He knows a lot. So anyway, that's the National.
Yeah,
Chickle
especially for a
Company.
young whippersnapper.
I know. He just completed the set, I believe, or was very close to doing that.
I love seeing young people in vintage. It warms my heart, Rick.
You just completed a set, by the way, huh? The 38 set.
I completed the 38 Gaudi, finally. Got my last 2 cards yesterday in the mail. And I did a hybrid set. There's 24 regular cards, and then they followed that up with 24 of the same players, same cards, but with the cartoons. So mine's a hybrid. Some are the regular, some are the cartoons. And maybe, over the course of the rest of my life, I might try to complete both versions. I only have 2 where I have both versions. So that might be something fun to do, but, then I got to buy another Bob Feller. I got to buy another DiMaggio.
Exactly.
And that's those aren't cheap.
Did you always like those cards?
Even as a
day
kid?
one.
Day one, from the time I first saw them in this book. Yep. Day one. And I saw that card, and I wanted that from the day I saw that. I still remember seeing this book. We were at the Walden bookstore at my local mall, Westmoreland Mall. Some people on here, I see they do videos from the card show there. They still have card shows there, and they had them when I was growing up. Well, a little later, not when I was little. They never had card shows, but when I was older, they did. They started my recollection in the early 90s, but they had a Walden bookstore there, and this was sitting out because they would have the regular books in the cases and everything, and then they always have those tables where they'll put out either books they're promoting or discounted books, and this was sitting there, and my eyes lit up, and thank God my mom bought it for me. And so I still remember the day I got it, and I still remember seeing it at that store. I was a little kid. I'd go home and, man, go through there and just be mesmerized by those old cards and just want them all. And then I'd cut them out, and I would just look through them over and over again. Good times, Rick.
Good times, man. Good times. So we're going to go on to 37 O-Pee-Chee V300, catalog V300, 37 O-Pee-Chee cards.
When I do a video on these, Rick, I've done it several videos where I pick them up or show them all. And I always get lots of comments. I never saw those before. Thanks for introducing me to a new set, those kinds of things. So these are not cards everybody is familiar with.
For sure. They look very similar to the, what is it? The DeLong, right? DeLong card.
Well, they're kind of a cross between the batter up and DeLong.
Yeah.
And even 33 Gouty, because they have little cartoons on them. So it's the player, and it's the same format, same pop out, stand up, whatever you want to call them, die cut. And they are standing in a stadium, and then they have little ball players around. So they're kind of like a hybrid.
Can you identify those ball players that are running around?
No. They're just solid black figures.
Sure.
But really cool design. That's Rogers Hornsby there. Here's a Hank Greenberg. This is a big card for Greenberg collectors. There's a Lefty Grove. I got a stack of them here. But anyway, those are the cards we're talking about. And these actually do have writing on the back, unlike the batter up, which are blank back. Yeah. And these were distributed only in Canada.
Only in Canada. 40 card set. What's interesting too is the numbers start at 100. Doesn't start at 1. The checklist starts at 100, which is kind of interesting. Why?
Yeah. Any theories? Any theories on why?
No one came up with it because they have also a hockey set at that time, right? Looks the same hockey set around that same time, but it doesn't match up with any of their other cards that they produced over the years.
Doesn't match up with the hockey set?
No, it does not. The hockey set starts with like 97, which is kind of interesting. And I'm not sure if it matches up with previous hockey sets, but no rhyme or reason on the doesn't match up with the batter ups, for instance, or any other.
That is
any other O-Pee-Chee issue either. So I'm not sure.
Now, of course, the Canadian issue cards are all rare because Canadians weren't into baseball. You have the Imperial Tobacco. You have the Willard Chocolate.
Oh, there's so many.
There's so many.
Honey
there's
Boy.
Even the 1934, what they call Canadian Butterfinger, because they look just like the regular Butterfingers, except they're smaller in size. But no one even knows definitively those came from Butterfinger. They just call them that because they were distributed in Canada. They know that. And they look like the Butterfingers that you could get in the United States. So, and then what's that one, J, starts with a P? You have the Ty Cobb.
Oh, yes. So the...
oh, my God, are those rare?
Yeah.
And you'll find those with like hole punches, right?
Mm-hmm.
They must have been redeemed for something.
Yeah, there's so many different. It's kind of crazy when you first get into the hobby and these pre-war cards. There's so many different issues, Canadian issues. Besides,
I know, which is fascinating to me because at the time they didn't have pro teams. I mean, they did have minor league. They didn't have pro teams. They couldn't watch them on TV. So it's always kind of fascinated me how many baseball card sets they issued.
So 40 card set starts at 100. Let's see here. Back mentions, so they're all American leaguers. For whatever reason, they're all American leaguers. And on the back, the one you just showed, it says Series A. So maybe they were going to print a Series B with National Leaguers, but they never did. Just all American players.
You know, I never even noticed that they're all American leaguers.
The company was started in 1911. The McDermott brothers, two brothers, started a company, and they called their log cabin, their family cabin, O-Pee-Chee.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, according to my research here.
So we found another set that doesn't have any Cubs.
That's true.
Man, nobody liked the Cubs. They don't get any respect.
What else? So, like I said, the same year as the die cuts or the pop-ups, the hockey. I don't have any of the hockey, which would be kind of cool.
I do
DiMaggio's in the
have.
set.
I have one of the hockeys actually. I
Okay,
don't have it handy though.
sure, sure. The DiMaggio's in the set, which that's the big
Yeah,
boy.
huge card, very expensive. And the
Pop
Bob
of
Feller, and the
Pop
Bob
of
Feller.
35, and Bob Feller. I think that's his rookie card. Is that right,
That
Victor?
so depending, we might as well go right into the Bustin' Victor's Chop segment. Um, that's the thing. Okay, are those rookie cards like the 38 Gaudy Feller? I think there may even be people that don't think that's a rookie card, but the 37 Opeachy, DiMaggio, and Bob Feller, can they be rookie cards? Because I'll tell you what, they sell like they are. The prices are super high on those cards, and I would love to have the DiMaggio
Oh
and the Feller.
man,
But then you have the 36 Worldwide Gum, which is what I consider DiMaggio's rookie card.
okay.
And what's fascinating is that's another Canadian issue. The 36 Worldwide Gum were distributed in Canada as well. And so if you put the Z-Nut out of the equation, the two earliest cards of DiMaggio are Canadian. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting. It
You
is.
know, what we call normal cards.
Mhm.
Because he has a 37 Wheaties. He has this thing here, where he's wearing number 18 in this is a Fine Pen Premium, isn't it? I think.
I think you're right.
So, but as straight cards go, those two that I would consider like I said, the Worldwide Gum, his rookie card. And I don't know which one. There's probably more Worldwide Gums than Opeachies, just from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both rare.
Somebody came up with the idea that so the National Chicle Company, they actually folded, went bankrupt in 37. Okay, they went bankrupt in 37. Somebody came up with the idea that that Opeachy in Canada printed those for National Chicle Company. But since they went belly up, they decided to release them themselves. And there's a theory also that it was cheaper to print cards in Canada at that time. So a lot of these sets might have been printed in Canada, even the Gaudies, even those Butterfingers, even the all the different back then, because for whatever reason you had the Depression, you had a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of these wrappers, they don't say, a lot of the cards, even the batter ups, don't say where they were actually printed or whatever.
Right.
So they might have been a deal with whoever.
Well, with shipping, that's pretty fascinating. With having to ship these, that it would be cheaper to do in Canada.
Well, they're very close together, and I guess at that time they had some kind of shipping arrangements or whatever. And
if you were getting other things too, other products too, just throw them in there. That makes sense. Or if the company's in New York, like right across the border or something,
and a lot of these,
sense.
like the batter ups, for instance, or the DeLongs. All these gum companies, even though they were separate, but it seems like a lot of them are very similar.
They were definitely similar in how they operated. Now, where was the National Chicle Company located?
In Massachusetts.
Okay.
So
that's not too far from Canada.
That's not that far, right?
No.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Bobby Burrell, who's the expert on hockey collectibles. I don't know if he has a theory on that, or I might be totally wrong, but it's just kind of an interesting thought when it comes to
Yeah,
these different issues. They might have been printed actually in Canada.
cool. Hey,
But
do
go
you have
ahead.
anything else on those that you
Uh,
wanted to add?
no, Peachy, what they had a license agreement with Topps starting, I think, around 1958 or so. Um, but that's all that I have really on that issue.
Yeah, I think what do you have first O-Pee-Chees is 59?
There might have been even after that, a few years after that. But I think that it says agreement was 58, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm trying to think of the oldest O-Pee-Chee cards I've seen. I have a number of O-Pee-Chees. I've always kind of been fascinated. I've always been fascinated with foreign issues.
Hmm.
I was always fascinated with the world and I studied international business. Studied 4 semesters of Japanese and just always been fascinated with other cultures and that just fell over into my card collecting. That's why I ended up with foreign Babe Ruths and stuff that at one time nobody seemed to want but me, like the Abdullah and this Sanella margarine and cards like that. So I've always been into the Canadian issues. In fact, my grandparents took me to Canada in 1982, and they bought me a box of O-Pee-Chees, and I have those all in a binder. Open those out of packs myself. They're all in such great condition too, and most of them have the rough cuts that I love. So that's a special set to me.
And then, the pop-ups or wherever you want to call them, die cuts, you would have to have special machinery for that back then.
Yeah,
Um,
I would imagine.
so I don't know if it relates to the batter ups and the O-Pee-Chees, the 37. And matter of fact, O-Pee-Chee, that was their lot. They did the 34s, like you were mentioning, like the Butterfingers or whatever. And they also did the 37s, but then it was years later they did another baseball
Yeah, yeah,
issue. So just kind of interesting. Although hockey, what the, if they didn't produce the hockey the same year, that might have been more of. So they probably did print for themselves the baseball issue. They weren't printing them for the defunct, bankrupt National Chico Company. But it's just a thought.
what has always fascinated me about these is that most of the time they're together. You don't see them punched and stood up.
Mhm.
You will find them here and there that they're missing. It's just the player and it's missing the background, or that they were punched out. You could see they were folded, but it's always amazed me that we don't see that more. Because if children were buying and collecting these things, you would think they'd be popping these suckers open and displaying them. Uh, and maybe they weren't that popular. Like I said, in especially the O-Pee-Chee in Canada, because clearly a lot of kids weren't doing that. I don't know, and they're not that common. Another possibility is they did play with them, and that's why there's not many of them, because they got destroyed and probably thrown out.
That's probably why.
Yeah, but the ones you find, I mean, you can find them together, and regardless of the number on the slab, in nice, nice collectible condition, nice
It's
presentable condition.
it's interesting why I'm trying to think of why they would start with the number 100.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's got to be a reason. We need to figure that out. Well, like the 38 Gaudi, that was a continuation of the 38 Gaudi set that
Yeah.
I just completed. That was a continuation of the 33 Gaudi. So they start where 33 Gaudi left off with the numbering. So they're all in the 200s, even though there's only 48 total cards, 24 of each type.
Yeah,
And that's
nobody
kind of
came up.
unique.
So, people who do a deep dive were trying to figure it out, but it didn't really match up with a hockey or.
Is it maybe a non-sport set or something that was before it? It's kind of fascinating why they'd start with that.
But why, if they were going to come out with a Series B, and they mentioned Series B, Why did they? Why just they didn't come up with the National League? Was it? Why would they? I don't know. Just would they?
Maybe they were trying to trick kids into believing there were 99 others to complete their set.
Probably.
Man, that'd be underhanded. I don't know.
Yeah, and yeah, I was just thinking on the National Chickle. I was mentioning about it had the fine photo, it had the die cut, it had a piece of gum. It said that on the 36 package, but also said on that package 1,200 cards that you could get.
Wow.
But which is not even possible. I was trying to add up all the National Chickle cards from the the Diamond Stars, and they also put out the the Rabbit Moranville, those little booklets, how-to booklets in 36 also that you see at the National, those little booklets. They put those out too. I was trying to
Well, I wonder,
out,
you said they went out of business in 37, right?
37.
I wonder if they were planning on producing more and just ran into financial troubles.
Maybe, but 1,200 different just didn't make.
Yeah, that's a crazy number. I mean, that's
not even close to
way bigger than Tops's biggest sets.
Yeah, who knows? They're all just promote. They probably just thought, hey, we'll start with 100. There must be other ones. People keep buying these things.
It's just very odd to start at 100.
Yeah,
very odd to start at 100. So, have you been picking anything up? You haven't been texting me anything.
No, I have nothing.
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 Is there a reason for that?
No, not really. The main money's a little tight for me right now. So nothing.
I've been picking up very little. In fact, I got back into the hobby in a big way in 2014, and I have bought fewer cards in 2025 than I have ever since 2014. It's my lowest year of picking up cards. And I just stopped buying boxes altogether because they're outrageous. So I bought some great cards this year, but way less cards than I have in all those previous years. And I just feel like, man, everything's just out of whack. Prices are too high.
Mm-hmm.
You go into auction houses, you got to pay this, the auction house what should be the seller's fee on top of what you win it for. And I just got tired of getting taken advantage of.
Yeah, the darn Shilly, man, it's overtaken the hobby.
Shilling.
What's the next?
Everybody buying these cards, marking them up, and then selling them. So there's a lot of flipping going on. Selling them before they even have them in hand, marking them up, and as long as the demand's there and you want the card, you're paying that, and I did for several years, but I'm just done now. I'm hoping card prices come down to earth a little bit.
I'm looking for a Macklin Celebrini card. You know who Macklin Celebrini is? You ever heard that guy's name?
I do not. Educate me.
Well, he's a Sharks hockey player. He's, I think, 4th right now in points. He's only 19 years old. He was a rookie last year. He was the first pick in the draft last year.
Oh, okay.
He's center. He's mesmerizing when I go to a game. He's got the curry. He's got the it. I don't know anything about hockey. He's just got the it. And
you know what? I'll have to check him out. I stopped
Celebrini.
I stopped collecting hockey and haven't really followed it. I will watch a Penguin game if it's on, if I can find it down here, but they're not on that often.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a game on TV, I'll catch it. But I have not kept up with the players like I used to.
Yeah, I think he's going to make the Canadian team, the national team, at 19 years old. But
wow.
You can just tell, you go to a game and you don't even have to you just look around and, God, what player mesmerizing, but he's 4th right now in points at 19 years old.
Well, I used to get all the Beckett's, so I would get the Beckett hockey. I remember when Ovechkin was coming up, he was so highly touted. And, I learned about these players through Beckett. And he was supposed to come up a year earlier. I remember this. He was supposed to come up a year earlier, but Russia wouldn't let him out. Had something to do with his age. And so we had to wait because everybody was touting this kid. And I was super into hockey at that time. I had the NHL package. I watched every game. I watched all the early games, and then I'd watch the late games. I was super into hockey at the time, which was unfortunate because the Penguins absolutely sucked at that time. But I watched all the other games, and I became an Avalanche fan, and I loved Joe Sakic. He was like one of my favorites. Joe Madonna was a favorite of mine. Matt Sundin, and I would just watch hockey all the time. But I remember when Ovechkin was coming up, and now he's the all-time scoring leader. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I got the Jumbo Joe Thornton stick here. He just went into the Hall of Fame.
I watched him too.
Thornton.
Yeah, he was great.
Fantastic player, man. I watched him. He was God for assists. They always wanted him to score more, though. Shoot more, shoot more. His dad always said, "Shoot more." Joe driving him to the game because he would.
He played many years, man.
Yeah. Started out with Boston and 20. He's got the one with the long beard,
Yeah.
But, I mean, I try to go to as many games as I can, and
I have a lot of hockey sets and hockey cards from the early 2000s when I was all into it. And I have a lot of hockey cards throughout the years, but just the sad part about hockey is I wish it was on TV as often as basketball, because I'd rather watch hockey. Sure. Like, to me, the modern NBA is so unwatchable for me. They palm the ball. They change pivot feet. They'll be on this foot, then they go to this foot. They travel. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's hard to watch. There's no defense usually, and watching basketball back in the 80s and 90s just was a magical time. And even I watched a lot of basketball in the early 2000s too. I loved it, but I just lost the luster for it. It's just everybody just puts up three-point shots and then dunks here and there. And they just throw up those shots they shouldn't even be shooting. But whatever. It is what it is.
All right, so we're almost at an hour here. Anything else you want to?
My man Incarnito, you might know him. He wears the blue gloves, and he opens up all kind of different stuff. And he loves the oddball stuff, Rick, and a lot of stuff from the junk wax era, but all eras. And he sent me some cards and a care package, and in with it, he sent me this 1986 unopened pack. And I'm thinking, man, if there were some PSAs in here, I could get $4,000 a piece. PSA 10s. Woo!
You can open that up on one of your videos or just keep it like it is?
I think I'm going to keep it like it is.
Smart.
I got my 86 tops are like so sharp. They all went, straight into binders or into holders back then, because by then we all cared about condition. So, back in the 70s, not so much.
Yeah. That's a beautiful package, the wrapper, that 86.
Yeah, I can't ever bring myself to open unopened packs because, I have a binder full of these, and
sure,
I'm not going to send it in for grading. And once I open it, I can't unopen it,
Mm-hmm.
So I have opened some in the past.
Yeah,
if I have a whole bunch.
You have a million of those cards anyway, so it doesn't, you already have the
right.
card.
It's not like, oh my God, there might be some Ohtani rookie 1 of 1 in here. You know what I mean? And I'm not sending them off for grading. So, although it's probably dumb on my part, if I could find one of the top ones that PSA 10 sell for a fortune, give it a try.
All right. Well,
everybody, thanks for hanging out with us.
If you're still with us,
we get a little wordy sometimes.
One of these days, we're going to have to do we're gonna have to do a little secret giveaway at the very end for whoever
Yeah.
is stuck with us, and put it in the comments, whatever, and then we'll test these people if they can, survive a whole hour with us.
Yeah, but we can't let them know because then they'll just fast forward to the end.
I know.
All right, Rick, give me your
All right.
close.
Hey, this is Rick. Vintage Oddball Cards. Bye.
I got to go.
I wanted to talk to you about shill bidding. Shill bidding bad, okay? Shill bidding bad. Shill bidding bad, okay?